everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. Had a couple little Zoom issues as I was getting started. So my name is Isa Hasty, not Rachel Rodriguez. She is my teammate, but I am currently logged into her account because I get in there sometimes to do Zoom stuff and I'm stuck in there today. So I'm Isa, but um, it says I'm Rachel today, so that's fine. Alrighty, so let's make sure everyone is seeing the right screen. Um, it should be showing the first slide. So we should be good. Let me just get everything set up here. And if you want to go ahead and drop in where you're joining from today and what org you're joining from as well, feel free to do that so we can get the chat going a little bit. I see people are still trickling in, so I'm going to give everyone just a few more minutes to join before we get started. Welcome, Debbie, Kayla, Big Red M. Hey, Kara. We've worked with you. You guys are awesome. Also, pardon the mess behind me. I just moved to a new apartment and I also did not have time to turn off background blurring. So bear with me, everyone, today through the tech stuff, but we will get through it. I just moved to Philadelphia, so I am settling in and really loving the city so far. If anyone hasn't been to Philly, come check it out. The food is amazing. Okay. We're 3 minutes in, so I see people are still joining, but I think we'll go ahead and just get started here. So welcome everyone who might have just trickled in the last minute. So we're going to be talking. Okay, cool. Grew up in the Philly area. Daughter lives there. Yeah, the food is elite here. Like I haven't had a bad meal yet, so I really love it. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a couple of different ways that you can grow your association, specifically when it comes to membership and non-dues revenue. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm Isa Hasty, Senior Manager of Content and Marketing Communications here at Feathr. And if you are new to Feathr, Feathr is a digital advertising and digital marketing platform that lets you house your email, advertising, social media campaigns, everything that you might be doing when it comes to your marketing, all in one easy platform. If you are running offline campaigns, if you are doing direct mailers, or if you have flyers up, things like that, anything that you're doing offline, you can also track that in Feathr using specific tracked links. So you can see everything and report on everything easily in one place, which, as we all know, can be really helpful just for having something easy to send to your board, get that budget that you need, and kind of prove that marketing is working. So if you are trying to run digital advertising and email and social in the same place, we've got your back. And we'll be talking mostly about digital advertising today, both for your organization and ways that you can get in front of new people, stay in front of highly engaged people, and drive conversions, especially when it comes to membership. And then we'll also talk about how you can use digital advertising on behalf of your sponsors to offer them a new modern way of getting in front of audiences, and add a little bit of a new revenue stream for your organization as well. Before I get into it, I'm going to launch a quick poll. So if you would like us to subscribe you to our weekly newsletter, go ahead and hit yes on this poll. And you don't have to click anything or do anything, and I will get you subscribed to that. You'll start seeing that in your inbox next Wednesday morning. So I see we've got some subscribers already on here, so that's awesome. But yeah, it's a great newsletter. Lots of just sort of industry news, trends, resources that might be helpful for you as you are navigating the challenging world of association marketing. So, alrighty. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the association challenges that you might be facing. So this is just a little bit of context setting. None of it will come as a surprise to you. It's all stuff that you guys are dealing with every day in your work. We'll talk about some of the ways that you can use digital advertising to grow and to get in front of existing members, drive awareness for prospective new members. And then we will talk about how you can drive some more revenue through offering that type of digital advertising campaign to your sponsors. So, just to kind of get a read of the room, what are you most focused on right now? It might be growing membership, might be an event that you have coming up, or increasing event attendance in general. Maybe you're looking to create some non-dues revenue, work on sponsorships, adding more value for sponsors. But I would love to just kind of hear a little bit about what you all are focused on as you're joining today. Engaging with members, okay. We'll talk a little bit about that. Growing membership, we'll talk about that. Sponsorship, okay, you've come to the right place. Yeah, and everything that I'll talk about today related to sponsorships also applies for exhibitors. So as you all know, like a lot of the types of digital sponsorships that you're offering to more traditional sponsors, you can offer those to other partners, supporters, exhibitors, all of that. Because the common denominator there is that they all want to get in front of your unique audience. And so you can sell that to them outside of just having a banner ad on your website for a few weeks for them, right? You can do a lot more than that. So we'll be talking about that. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Continue just dropping things in the chat, obviously. And real quick, housekeeping, I will be sending out the recording and the slide deck this afternoon. So you will get that in your inbox. And then feel free to drop questions in the chat, obviously, as we go. I'll do my best to get to them as I'm going through the slides, and anything I don't get to, I will try to cover at the end. So yeah, definitely add questions in the chat. If you see a question and you feel like you actually know the answer, or you feel like you've done something that is helpful for solving that challenge or answering that question, feel free to weigh in. I'd love for you all to be able to kind of have access to share ideas in this forum as well. So, okay. So, as you all know, working at an association, especially in association marketing, can be really challenging. It's hard to get the budget for what you want. It's hard to do everything that you're being asked. A lot of the time, you might be a very small team. In some cases, you might be a solo marketing team, right? A solo marketer. And so, when it comes to growing membership, improving renewals, driving retention, driving event attendance and registrations, this can all be really challenging when you feel like you don't have enough time in the day, you don't have enough budget, enough support internally, right? And so it's really important to be able to have the tools in place that help you set up automations and help you set up workflows that can really simplify your day-to-day so that you can stay focused on more strategic things and actually automate a lot of what's happening in the background. And this applies to email campaigns, ad campaigns, what you're doing on Meta, things like that. So and then also you are being asked to prove as much value as you can to sponsors. And often, it can be hard to do that if you have a lot of different sponsors and you feel like you're kind of running out of real estate on your website, or you don't want to bombard your own audience with so many sponsored emails, right? And so there's a way to put as many sponsors as you want in front of your audience, kind of in an unlimited inventory type of way. And so we'll get into that in just a few minutes, and hopefully cover some of the like limitations or perceived limitations that you're dealing with and have some solutions for that. So digital can help power a lot of what we're talking about today. And, I think a lot of associations are using digital channels. I think a lot of you might already be doing a lot of what we're talking about today, which if you are, wonderful. If not, hopefully this is helpful. And even if you are doing some of this, including sponsored retargeting, which is what we'll talk about at the end, hopefully this will still kind of provide you with some ideas or ways to think about pitching it to sponsors, new ways of thinking about packaging it, right? Ways to get creative with exactly what you're offering. You can do more than just retarget your website audience for sponsors. You can actually geofence your own events for sponsors and get them in front of that specific audience with their ads, and you can charge them for that. So there's a lot you can do when you have a digital advertising platform in place. You can get really creative with what you do and what you offer. Um, so yeah, when you have the right digital strategy, obviously you can attract new members and potential members. You can stay visible in front of those existing members who either are up for renewal and maybe they're a little disengaged, or maybe they're a really engaged member and you know that they will actually renew like right when renewal comes up. And so just kind of getting in front of them the first day they can possibly renew and staying in front of them so that they, just hit that button and you have that guaranteed, annual recurring revenue. So driving registrations and course enrollments, this is another great use case. Everything that we're talking about when it comes to digital ads, staying in front of people, putting your message in all of the channels where people are spending their time online outside of just the email inbox. All of this applies to most use cases that you're thinking about. So not just events, not just member drives, but also anything that you're promoting on your website. And so we'll get into that in a few minutes as well. Like, what are all of the things that you as an association are offering, and how can you put that in front of your audience through ads and on the right channels? Because you offer a lot, and I think associations are in kind of a unique position in terms of having a very niche audience. You know who you're trying to reach, unlike a lot of other companies or organizations where it's kind of like, okay, we have multiple different audiences and we're kind of trying to straddle that. A lot of the time with associations, you know exactly who you're trying to reach. The question is, how can you stay on their radar and really make the case for them to renew, for them to buy a ticket, for them to enroll in a course? And so, kind of taking advantage of the fact that your audience is well defined and really getting in front of them with intention. All right, so let's get into the process by which people actually join associations. So talking about membership, and this also goes for, again, um, registering for an event, signing up for a course, signing up for a webinar. It's a really similar kind of flow that people go through. So they will discover whatever it is that's bringing them to you, right? So maybe it's an industry issue that they're dealing with at work, and it makes sense for them to look into association resources that you offer. It might be a professional requirement on their end, right? Their employer requires them to be a member of a given association. They will probably do some research online, land on your association's website, possibly, maybe look at the homepage, maybe check out the membership page, look at membership benefits. But most of the time, people will leave without converting on the first visit. Most people don't convert even on the second or third visit, right? So unless it's like you better sign up for this membership before tomorrow, or else, most people are not going to be converting on the first visit. And so unless it's coming like externally from their employer or something, and there's like a hard deadline, people shop around, people have, they weigh the pros and cons of benefits, and they have to get the budget for it and things like that. So there's a lot more barriers to conversion than I think we realize. And so that's why it's important to think about this piece here, which is that you want to bring them back. Just because they visited your website does not mean that they are guaranteed to come back on their own. In a lot of cases, they will not. So it's your job as a business and as an association to actually bring them back. And this is where retargeting plays in, right? So you have a website visitor come to your About Us page, your annual event page, your webinars page, whatever that looks like, wherever there can be a conversion on that page. If you have a form on that page or not, right? It can be the About Us page, it can be your home page. They're just simply learning more. And then they leave. You want them to then see ads across the websites where they're spending time, the apps that they're using on their phones. You want to be showing up in those places, reminding them, hey, you checked us out, come back, become a member. Here are the benefits that you'll get. Here are the benefits of being a member. If you want to register for our event, you'll get a discount. Early bird pricing for our event. Here it is. Here's the registration deadline. So all of these things that you're always promoting in your emails and through whatever other channels you're reaching people. You can do this through ads to anonymous website visitors. So, you don't have the emails of a lot of the people that are coming to your website because they might be coming for the first time. And so one way to reach them is through retargeting, because it's privacy compliant, it's anonymized data, and you are able to reach people on their devices without actually knowing much about them, simply because they indicated that they're interested in your event or in becoming a member. So ideally, these ads work and bring somebody back, and you might have to, show up a few times. They might come back and still not register or still not sign up to become a member. But then eventually, in an ideal world, your ads are effective. You're showing up with enough frequency in the right places. People come back, they become a member, they register for your event, whatever you're trying to get them to do. So, quick question before we get into some specific ad campaign types that you can run to drive awareness. I would love to know if you know the conversion rates of key pages on your website. So, for are you actually tracking website visits on your website pages, especially key pages like registration and membership pages? And can you kind of know off the top of your head roughly what those conversion rates look like? Because I think this can be a really good indicator of whether you are doing your due diligence on the back end of your website in terms of just kind of knowing what's happening and knowing, what your audience is doing and what they're interested in. Because this is something that is quite easy to set up on the back end and have access to this data, even if it sounds kind of, um, a little bit complex. It's actually just a matter of installing code on the back end of these pages and then keeping track of what's happening on the pages. So yeah, drop in the chat if you feel like you can tell me the conversion rates for key pages. Okay, so with the 2,000 minimum contacts requirement for retargeting campaign, would you suggest more of an affinity or lookalike campaign first? Um, yes. So with with the minimum, this is something that we're talking about a lot with our Feathr customers. So we know that this is a challenge. We are actively working with the trade desk, who is our partner in serving ads. We're working with them to try to give feedback in terms of the challenges that this is causing for users across the board. And this is not specific to Feathr. This is kind of a requirement by the trade desk. And the idea behind it is that you are running larger campaigns to larger audiences to help generate more meaningful, statistically meaningful results. And so, um, yeah, the difference between a retargeting campaign and something like an affinity is that affinity, you can run this to completely new people who haven't been to your website yet. And so we're actually going to talk about affinity campaigns in just a minute. They're a great way of leveraging third-party data to get in front of completely new people without actually having to have had them visit your website before. You don't have to have their email address. You don't have to have a website visit from them. You can get in front of people. And with those, you can really reach broad audiences. And so you can easily hit any kind of minimum requirements. But yeah, we are definitely looking to help customers and help associations solve for this 2,000 contact minimum requirement. And part of that is just, combining campaigns in one. So how can you sort of reach multiple audiences that have visited your website in one campaign? Lookalike campaigns are similar to Affinity in terms of needing to upload a certain number of contacts for that. So yeah, there's definitely some challenges when it comes to the minimum requirements, but there are ways around it by just expanding who you're trying to reach within one campaign. And then, with the awareness campaigns that you're running, you want to be getting in front of as many relevant people as possible and trying to really drive up website traffic. And then once you're doing that, if you're able to really kind of drive up new website visitors and just get people on your site, you're going to have more traffic to work with when it comes to those retargeting campaigns. So I think, yeah, there's a lot you can do in terms of combining these different campaign types. Okay. Transactions occur in the member portal, not on our website, hard to track transactions. So you actually can install the tracking pixel that we're talking about. So when you're trying to retarget, you can do this on other web properties. It doesn't have to be your like sort of marketing website. You can do this on a portal. So it depends on like if there are privacy issues or anything like that with data. Like I know that we've worked with credit unions in the past, and sometimes there's issues with tracking pixels on the back end of like portals if there's financial data and things like that. But we know a lot of associations will actually track visitor behavior on their membership portal. So this is totally something that you can do with a tracking pixel, which Feathr can offer. So we can definitely chat about that if you're interested in knowing more, but it's okay if it's two different systems. If you are hosting a page somewhere and there's a form or anything that members are doing on that page, you can track the activity there in order to be able to retarget visitors. Okay, I'm gonna power through this a little bit, but I'm going to come back. We can track cart purchases through member portal recently installed. Yep, awesome. Yep, thanks for adding that, Debbie. Okay, cool. Thanks for the good conversation, guys. Keep it going in the chat for sure. Okay, so just to kind of talk about the different things that associations can promote. So again, you all know this, but like I mentioned before, there's so much that you as an association offer to your very specific audience. And so you're already in a position of a relative advantage, I would say, in terms of that. So make sure that you're leaning in as much as you can, to all of the different ways that you can help your members, potential members, attendees, because you are providing them with something very unique that they can't find somewhere else. And so lean into membership benefits, events. You're probably hosting an annual conference, but you might be hosting other events as well. Certifications, courses, webinars, publications that you publish and offer to members or to people who are trying to, make that purchase, and then sponsorship exposure for your sponsor. So just to keep in mind how much you are offering your audience, and this is, different audiences, right? Your sponsors are one of your audiences in terms of serving them, giving them access to something, and then your members and your event attendees have access to so much through you. So remember to lean into that in all of your advertising and your promotion. So campaigns that drive awareness, membership, and revenue. Let's get into a few of these different awareness campaigns that I know we were just chatting about lookalike affinity. So there's a lot of different campaigns that you can run before someone's ever even heard of you or visited your website to get in front of them for the first time and ideally get them to be interested, engage, maybe click on one of those ads. It might not be the first ad impression they see, but you might show up a few times over the course of a week, and then they click on the seventh time that you've shown up for them, they click on the ad, come to your website, and explore. So geofencing lets you find members where they're spending time in the real world. So this is something that Feathr offers. If anyone on here, I know we have some Feathr customers on here, so you might be using this already, but this is a great way to reach people in the real world based on who they are and where you know that they're spending time. And so we tell associations that there are great opportunities to get in front of students, next generation of members and event attendees by geofencing college campuses, even high school campuses, right? If you're trying to get in front of high school seniors who are maybe deciding between going to college or entering into some vocational studies and maybe going into a trade school route rather than college, right? So there's lots of people who are kind of ripe for your messaging. And so thinking about, okay, where are these people in the real world and how can I show up with ads on their mobile devices because I know that they're spending time in these places. Workplaces, company headquarters, right? So these are great ways to get in front of people who you know are in your industry. Even people who you know have some kind of employer requirement to join an association like yours. You can kind of figure out, you might already know, who are the kind of employers in my space that tend to require employees to join an association like mine. Find out what those are, where those buildings are located, and geofence those buildings with ads about member benefits of joining your association. Industry trade shows. So this could be other organizations' trade shows, right? Other association competing events. You can also geofence your own trade shows, your own association's events. And so this is a great way to get in front of your own audience, right? You know that they're there because they're interested. So if you're trying to, for example, promote membership benefits to people at your event who are not yet members, right? So you might have an event where you invite members and it's open to non-members. You might want to geofence that with ads about becoming a member, right? Or another event that you have coming up. So lots of things you can do here. And then just to give a quick example of an association that used Feathr to do this. So this is the Restaurant Association of Maryland, and they geofence specific areas in their region, and they actually geofence specific restaurants as well. So this is kind of cool. I saw in some of their campaigns are geofencing, Ocean City or places that are more like a larger geographic area, like a city or a town. But then they get pretty specific with some of their geofencing campaigns and actually target specific restaurants whose staff they want to get their ads in front of, right? So it might be, okay, we want to get in front of the chefs and the waiters and waitresses and all of the people working at this specific restaurant. So let's geofence this area, serve ads to them on their mobile devices. So hopefully they'll join our association. And they have had great results from all of the campaigns that they've run in Feathr. They've reached almost 50,000 new people and had 515 new clicks to their website through one of the campaigns that they ran, trying to reach new members. So this was cool. And then yeah, I like this quote from the marketing and communications coordinator. So he said, the way that I think about our marketing funnel is starting with pretty much anyone who's in the restaurant world, right? So this would be that example of geofencing. It's that top of funnel campaign, just getting awareness, getting in front of any new relevant people. So this might be any of the wait staff, any of the staff at these restaurants in my area, right? And then general campaign ads that they run in the background year round, those are awareness campaigns or awareness ads showing off our brand for possibly the first time. So just this kind of combination of getting in front of specific locations, specific areas, and running general awareness ads all year round for people to just kind of stay top of mind for people who might have heard about you, but they're still new, right? And then as they kind of work through the funnel, this is where the automation of your ad campaigns comes in. If somebody does kind of click through to your website and explore more, they're not going to continue to see those general awareness ads. They will then be filtered into new ad campaigns where they're seeing more personalized, more sort of specific ad content based on what they've done. So if they've visited your homepage a few times, then you know that they're interested. So then you might start targeting them with ads about becoming a member and the benefits of that or an upcoming event, right? And so this is all something you can automate on the back end in Feathr or whatever marketing platform you choose to use. This is something that can be really helpful for kind of just continuing to drive people through that personalized buying journey or decision-making journey. So affinity targeting, this was just mentioned in the comments. So this lets you leverage third-party data to get in front of completely new people who might be relevant to join your association or might be relevant to your association and what you offer. So this is something that Feathr offers. It's built into Feathr, so it's not like you're paying extra for access to this data. This is simply a campaign type, just like all of the other campaign types in Feathr. And you can get very specific with who you're trying to reach. And so for associations, I think this is really cool because you can filter by profession, age, demographic information, always throwing a geo filter on there. So geofencing, like we just talked about, is a specific campaign type where you're serving ads to people who were in a specific place. But geo filters are something that you should always add onto any ad campaign that you're running so that you're narrowing your focus to a relevant area, not wasting budget showing ads to anyone and everyone all over the world, kind of focusing in on who am I trying to reach through this campaign and where am I trying to serve these ads. And so, for example, you might set up an affinity targeting campaign targeting pediatricians who are between these ages and they live in California, right? And you can get way more specific than this if you want, but this just gives you an idea of how you can kind of stack these different segments or filters on top of each other to create basically a persona that you're trying to reach. And this is a persona that this represents a bunch of people, thousands of people that have maybe never heard of you. Maybe they have because they're in your industry and so they've heard of you, which is even better, right? If they've never been to your site, but they know about you, once they see your ad, that brand recognition is already built in and that builds a little bit of trust. But even if they have never heard of your association, you know that based on this demographic information in this industry and professional information, that they are a good candidate, right, for what you offer. So with affinity targeting, you can get into interests, values, behaviors, online purchase history, all of this demographic data we just talked about. And you can do cool things as well, like this, interested or has attended multiple industry events, interested in climate change, right? And so depending on your industry, you might want to lean into people's actual interests or affinities in terms of what types of events in the industry they've attended, what types of causes they give to, right? Things like that. So that might kind of double down. They may already be in your industry, but really, really be into a specific aspect of that space. And so there's a lot you can pull from this type of data in order to create your ideal persona and then get your ads in front of them. Again, very top of funnel type of campaign, but that can bring in a lot of new website traffic, and then you can go from there in terms of personalizing that journey. And then the Society of American Military Engineers also uses Feathr to do a lot of what we're talking about here. So they run affinity targeting by job title and industry, and they also reach people based on whether they have a military background. And so they've had a lot of success using Feathr to drive event registrations, ticket sales, and membership. And so this is just a little screenshot that I took from their Feathr campaign, from one of their affinity campaigns, just to show the audience that they were targeting here. So they were targeting people that work at small businesses with a military background. These are all separate, by the way, but you can stack these together as well. So this is kind of how they named the different categories. But this category might be people with a military background within a certain geographic area, within a certain age range. And so you can get really specific in terms of what audiences you're creating here, getting in front of them with your ads. And then you can also target by search terms. And so a lot of people know about Google Ads, right? You might be running these. So that's where you're trying to show up at the top of the Google search page in those sponsored results on the actual search page. With search retargeting, and in Feathr, we call this search keyword campaign in case you use Feathr, that's what we're referring to here. You are showing up with ads around the web after people have left that search page. So if you can show up in the sponsored results on Google, great. It's pretty competitive, right? But do whatever you can to be showing up in organic search. But then you also want to be showing up after because somebody searched for something that you consider to be relevant. And so any keywords that you are trying to rank for, if you are running Google ad campaigns, those would be similar to what you're doing here. So if somebody searches for any of these kind of key phrases and it's fill in the blank obviously with your association's industry or a specific topic that you're running a webinar on, things like that, then you can end up showing up for people who searched for those things and then they might click on your ad and click to learn more. We work with some YMCAs, and this YMCA chapter of Metro Fort Worth in Texas actually has a really cool sort of use case, a little story about how they learned something about their own messaging through search retargeting, which I thought was really interesting. So they were running an after-school care program at their local Y, and they wanted to run a bunch of different ad campaigns promoting this after-school care program. And so they ran some geofencing campaigns, some affinity campaigns, but they also ran a search retargeting campaign where they tested some language. And I don't even know going into it if they realized they were testing it, but they had different messaging on the ads. And some of the ads said childcare. So, if you're looking for childcare for your kid, sign up. The Y is offering something. And then some of them used the term after school or out of school program. And so they found that when they were trying to rank for childcare, people who were searching for childcare started seeing their ads, and those people were actually the parents of very, very young children or babies. And this program specifically was for older kids, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And so the program that they were running actually didn't apply to a lot of the people that this campaign was pulling in. And so they realized, okay, actually, the term childcare is not something we should be trying to show up for when we're running this campaign. We actually want to be getting in front of people who have kids that are of this, older kids, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever. And so they decided to remove the term childcare from the ads that they were running in this campaign and to remove childcare from the key terms that they were actually trying to use as a catalyst for serving these ads. And they just leaned into after school and out of school in order to try to pull in more people who were searching for that and actually looking for this type of program, right? Like an after school care program for their 8-year-old kid. And so when they did that, they found better results and they were getting a lot more traction with that audience. And so I thought that was just a really cool, I love this anecdote because I think it just shows that like ad campaigns are a really great way to A/B test copy, a kind of a slogan or a CTA, right? It's just a really small area of text where you have to be really thoughtful and intentional about what you're including. And so it can be really easy to set up a quick A/B test, run 2 different ads, testing one component for a week or even a few days and see what kind of audience you draw in, see what's getting more clicks, and more engagement. And then, yeah, that tells you something about your audience and sort of letting them tell you what they need from you, right? Which is important. And then your best prospects already know you. So this is going to be your lapsed members, current members, event attendees, so past event attendees, and website visitors. So I think a lot of the time we talk about, how to get in front of new people, how to get in front of the next generation and your next best member. And that's all important. And you should always continue doing that, as we've just shown lots of examples of how you can do that. But don't neglect the people who already know you because they are your most loyal and your warmest audience. And so this can be as warm as a current member, right? They're fully bought in. or a website visitor. This is a little less warm, right? This is a little bit still kind of in the earlier phases of, okay, I've bought in some way because I clicked on an ad or clicked on an email and visited the website. But this person is still much warmer than a cold lead. And so making sure that you are keeping your focus on these groups of people as sort of your most loyal base of people to be reaching and not to neglect or take for granted. And one of the ways that you can serve ads to these people, in addition to retargeting, right? A lot of them might be visiting your website or your member portal, like we just talked about in the chat, right? If you have tracking set up on your member portal, you can retarget members who are logging in on a regular basis. But CRM retargeting, which is called email mapping in Feathr, we this lets you serve ads to people because you have their email. So you're using the email as a unique identifier here. And it means that they don't have to have visited your website recently. And so this might apply to current members. You might have current members who are just super disengaged, and maybe you're worried that they're a churn risk and they have not visited your website in, 6 months and they're not opening your emails. You can use email mapping or CRM retargeting to set up a campaign where you're serving them ads about renewing their membership, in addition to hitting them in the inbox and wherever else you might be reaching them, right? And so just adding yet another channel where they'll be seeing you in addition to just the email inbox. And so this is just cool for, yeah, reaching anybody whose email you have. You might have a list of people who attended your event last year or 2 years ago, right? And you want to invite them to this year's event. You can email them because you have their email, but you can also serve them ads across the web because you have their email. So we definitely encourage this for those kind of warmer audiences and those warmer lists. NMSDC, this is the National Minority Supplier Development Council. They run email mapping campaigns. And so as you can see here, I pulled this as well from one of their campaigns. So they ran an early bird email mapping campaign to this list. So basically they sent out emails letting a certain group know about this 2025 economic forum that was coming up. And then they set up an email mapping campaign to also serve ads to the people on that list. So these people are receiving an email, right? Or maybe a set of emails about early bird pricing about this event. And then they're also going to be seeing ads as they're browsing on Facebook, as they're browsing on Instagram, as they're browsing ESPN.com or wherever they are going online. If they're using a mobile app or a game or whatever, anything that they're doing on their mobile devices, they will continue to see ads about this economic forum in addition to having received the email. So again, just a really great way to create that kind of surround sound, multi-channel marketing approach where you're showing up in as many places as possible where people are spending their time. And then Stefan, the VP of Marketing at NMSDC, I think he kind of put in better words what I was trying to say before, which is that you can get quick little wins from using a platform like Feathr. So he said, sometimes you need the quick little wins to get to the bigger wins. Feathr gives me control to test things out and pick up small wins to invest further. So when I chatted with him, he said that like a lot of the time he'll actually just put a couple $100 into an ad campaign to see what happens. You can put $150, $200 into a retargeting campaign and see if it gets traction and then add budget as you go. And so that's another great thing about a platform like Feathr where you're running everything in one place. You can really kind of see how things are performing, reduce budget, add budget. Also, we have built-in sort of notifications that tell you, hey, this campaign is performing really well. These ads are getting a lot of engagement. Do you want to add budget? So lots of sort of built-in little alerts about what's doing well and what's not so that you can move money around and make sure that you're getting the most out of your ad campaigns. And then follow up a lot. So we already talked about retargeting quite a bit throughout this. So just make sure that you are following up with people who have visited your website because people don't convert on the first time. And even this goes for existing members too, right? We're talking about, completely new people getting to your homepage for the first time probably won't become a member that day, but an existing member might see one of your ads about membership. Hey, oh, I need to renew this. Click on it. They might visit the membership page, but think, oh, my wallet's in the other room, or oh, I need to like ask my boss for the budget for this, or oh, I don't know if I can go to this event. And they might not convert either. And so it's just really important to remember that follow-up is key. Don't ever underestimate all of the barriers to someone pulling out their wallet and making a purchase or filling out a form. And that is on you as the association to basically remind them and show up. Okay. Auto send emails. based on actions they take, clicked but haven't converted after 20 days. Yeah, you can totally do this. Um, yeah, so auto sends are a great way to do this. Auto sends in Feather are basically automated email campaigns, and you can set this up based on whatever trigger you want. And so this is a great example. So you could say somebody who has either opened an email about this thing or have clicked on ads and visited this page, right? But they haven't converted after a certain window of time. This is a great example of a very specific type of trigger that you could set for an automated email or an auto send campaign. So yeah, great idea, Mark. Definitely, um, automated emails are the way to go. And that's with that, it's cool because like you're really just sending them to each individual person as it applies to them. So you set up the email, you set up the trigger, you say, whenever anybody kind of hits these requirements, I want them to get this email. And you set the time window, but you can say, I want them to get this email within 2 hours or within 24 hours, right? And people just expect that very personalized buying journey and online experience now. We all expect that, obviously, as consumers. And so that is a lot more likely to convert and to get their attention than what's very obviously a mass email that you sent out to all members about renewal, right? And then just this other quick example here. So this is the American Society of Cataract and Refractive Surgery. So they also use Feather to drive new members, to drive event attendance, and they run a lot of really effective retargeting campaigns. And so they ran a campaign last year to drive membership, and they got 115 new members, $52,000 dollars in new dues from those members. And Karen said that, when we hit 26 new members, I remember being super excited that we had that many because those were outreaches that we had just set up and run, and it was just kind of happening in the background. And we weren't even actively in the system every day. So obviously they far surpassed 26, but I hear this kind of feedback a lot from people who get started with these types of campaigns where they start to see the conversions trickle in and they're like, wow, these are conversions that simply weren't happening because we didn't have this thing set up in the background. Okay, cool. We've hit 26, now we've hit 50, and it just keeps growing from there and you kind of get used to it. But I think at the very beginning it's fun because you kind of see the results happening just because you, yeah, put something in place and gave people one more opportunity to join or to register. So that's really what it's about. Sometimes it's less about the creativity of your messaging or something completely innovative, and it's actually just giving people places that they can do the thing that you want them to do, right? Adding new options and things like that. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about digital sponsorships and sponsored retargeting. So I'm going to skip this just because I want to power through this section. So what do sponsors pay you for? They pay you for exposure to your audience. They pay you for reputation and helping them maintain a reputation in the industry, networking opportunities, engaging with your community, and they want to be present at your events, right? And so what is the sort of common denominator? All of these things, it's your audience. They're trying to get in front of your unique audience in order to get that exposure, maintain that reputation, network with people, right? And so sponsored retargeting, which we call monetization in Feather, you can sense a theme here. We get creative with our naming conventions in the app. Sponsored retargeting is a way that you can offer what we were just talking about. So retargeting, right? You're showing ads to people who visited a website. Um, you can do this on behalf of your sponsors. So this is an example of a sponsored ad, right? That might be showing up for people. So instead of your ads and your landing page, right, you will be showing a sponsor's ad to your audience. So somebody visits your membership page or your About Us page or your event page and then leaves. You can actually retarget that person with not only your ads about the event or about the membership benefits, but also your sponsor's ads, right? And so what's cool about this is that your name isn't so in the mix, right? It's like it's separated from them, which I think is a great thing because a lot of the time with sponsorships, you're sending out an email on their behalf, or you have a banner of theirs, on your website for a few weeks leading up to an event, or it's their names on napkins at the event or something like this. And with sponsored retargeting, there's some anonymity for you built in while still being able to deliver that value to sponsors. So basically, the end user, so the website visitor from your audience who comes to your website and then leaves, they're seeing that sponsor's ad And it just kind of feels like a natural fit because they are the target audience, right? So it might be, I know that the Restaurant Association of Maryland partners with different food companies and things like that. So I think McCormick is one of their partners. McCormick will pay to have access to Ram's audience, and then those people will simply see ads from relevant, companies because they're in the restaurant association, the restaurant industry. And so they're looking for, to buy products and things like this. And so they'll start seeing those ads directly from those sponsors. And again, it just kind of feels like, yeah, it makes sense that I'm seeing these ads because I want to buy this thing. And so Ram, the sort of middleman, gets cut out as being sort of uh, a name in that mix, which I think is really beneficial for everybody. It just feels like a more natural online experience. And so that's one of the perks of doing this type of sponsorship is that there's unlimited inventory. It's the whole web, right? All of the different ad slots that you can populate with digital ads, and you are offering this to sponsors. And then, so why is this a must-have for associations? So let's talk a little bit about the benefits for associations specifically. So it's highly scalable. You can serve multiple sponsors at once. It's not like, okay, I have 7 sponsors that are all vying for a spot at the top of my homepage leading up to this event. No, you can actually serve all 7 of those sponsors' ads to your audience based on whatever pages they're visiting. And we'll get into that in a minute, but you can get very specific about what audience members you're actually showing ads to. You can repeat campaigns anytime. This does not have to be tied to an event, right? And so you can repeat your campaigns and you can do this all year round. And then you maintain reachability simply because this is, all happening on the web, and it's pretty much unlimited inventory in terms of where people are possibly going to see the sponsors' ads. It's very trackable, which sponsors like and want, right? They want proof that this campaign is actually worth their money. And so you have dashboards in Feathr that you can easily share with sponsors, and they're not going to show anything like, what you're paying. They won't show what you're paying for the ad impressions. So again, you can be, you can offer a package of 50, 60, 70,000 impressions and charge 5, 6, $7,000 for that, right? You're not paying nearly that. You're paying in the hundreds for that number of impressions, and you're upcharging sponsors for that access. And so none of that information is included in these reports. It's simply showing them who they're reaching, how many people they're getting in front of, what areas, right? It's going to have a heat map. It's going to show ad activity, clicks to their website, and all of this. And so they'll have all of the information they want in terms of the ROI for them of the campaign. And then this is easy for you to share with them. So you don't have to put together this report all the time. And it's ongoing, it's live, so they can log in anytime to kind of see in real time how their campaigns are doing with you. It's flexible. So in terms of how you make it work, it's kind of up to you. You choose the ad packages, so you choose how many impressions, frequency, what the price looks like. You choose who you want to offer this to, and there's no restrictions from Feathr. So this is really similar to when you're running your own retargeting campaigns. You can just do this for sponsors. So we make it easy for you to do it for sponsors, but it's really similar to what you're doing with your own marketing materials because your sponsors have the same goal, right? They're also doing their marketing. They're trying to get in front of relevant audiences, and your audience happens to be one of those relevant audiences. So really, you're just helping them market directly to your audience, just in the way that you market to your audience, right? And then some more benefits, you can add this to existing sponsorship opportunities. So if you already have some sponsorship packages built out, that can be a great starting point, and you can add this in either as a bonus if you want to kind of throw it in and test the waters, or you can add it in for an extra, for a premium price. And then this helps build stronger relationships. This type of sponsorship is something that companies are expecting now. Your sponsors and exhibitors expect this type of thing, and they will find it elsewhere if you don't offer it to them. So go ahead and take advantage of the relationship you have with them and offer it, and that will strengthen the relationship over time. And this helps bring sponsors who aren't yet doing this or who aren't in the digital marketing space into the digital marketing space. And if you're the one to do that, that will make the relationship stickier. So if you're the one to help them kind of come into that space, that will help them trust you and feel like you are the go-to for getting them in front of relevant audiences. And best of all, you can earn some non-dues revenue from this. So we've had plenty of Feathr customers say that, the platform more than pays for itself with just one or two of these sponsorships, right? So that's very cool. It's an easy way to earn thousands of dollars in non-dues revenue simply from adding this thing onto existing sponsorship packages that you're already offering. So, how to get started with this, there's lots that we can do to help support you if you decide that you're interested in using Feathr to do this. I have some information on the last slide about how our team can specifically help you, but you basically can choose your package, right? So these are just some examples of how you can pitch it. And remember that you can simply add these impressions to existing sponsorship packages. So this is just an example of what this might look like. You could do like a platinum, gold, silver for different price ranges, different numbers of impressions, and the duration. So this is all up to you to set, but we can provide you with some what we call media kits that kind of are like a template for how to pitch this and package it for sponsors if you are just getting started with this. So yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can package it to benefit your sponsors and your own interests as much as possible. Just another quick example of what this could look like. So you could offer a package that is monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually, and then yeah, combine or sorry, decide, what you want to set for duration, impressions, and all of that, and price it accordingly. And then when it comes to finding your sponsors, this could be previous sponsors, current sponsors, right? That's kind of obvious. Organizational partners and exhibitors. Someone mentioned exhibitors earlier, trying to, find better options for working with exhibitors. And so this is a great way to offer them access to your audience, especially if they're going to be in person exhibiting at an upcoming event. They want to get in front of your audience leading up to that event. So there's a little bit of familiarity already built. And so you can offer that access to your online audience so that they can be showing up with ads and kind of like just, on their radar. And then they're at the event and say, hey, like you already know us. Active business members. So you might have actually, members that are businesses that are also looking to sell something to your audience, offer them that, and then speakers as well. Speakers might be wanting to get in front of your audience for whatever reasons, to get more people to come to their session at your events, or maybe they have their own consulting business or something like that. They're trying to get in front of new clients. So definitely get creative with how you think about who you can offer this to. It's not just for sponsors. Lots of different people want to get in front of your unique audience. And then identifying the right audience to actually offer access to. So this could be your entire website traffic. So anyone who's coming to your site, you can say, hey, sponsor, you can get your ads in front of anyone who's visited my site in the last 60 days. You could just do event attendees, right? So you could run an email mapping campaign on behalf of your sponsors where you're mapping just to the emails of event attendees. So you say, okay, everyone who attended my event last year and this year, I'm going to serve ads to those people across the web. I'll serve your ads to those people, right? So that could be a sponsorship offering. High intent audiences. So instead of your entire traffic in your entire site traffic, you might want to just go for really high intent pages. So you'll tell your sponsor, I'll serve your ads to people who have visited this event page a certain number of times, or, our membership page, or whatever feels the most relevant. So and start small. Make sure that you reach out to trusted and past partners first. And you can offer exclusive access to some people if you want to just, again, test the waters and then kind of roll it out. And then again, a really easy kind of safe way to do this is by adding it onto an existing package. You can totally sell it on its own, but if it's easier to kind of wrap your mind around just adding, some ad impressions for a certain window of time for a few extra $1,000 onto an existing package, you can do it that way as well. All right, so that kind of wraps it up. If you are looking for help with this, if you're interested in doing this through Feathr and you would like some support, our campaign management services team offers lots of support around creating that media kit to package, price, and pitch this to sponsors. And we can fulfill on 20 sponsored campaigns each year. And you get a dedicated strategist to kind of help you strategize and work through the campaign, execute, and make sure everything is going well. So this can be really helpful if you're just getting started with this and you don't really know exactly where to start. And then if you are already a Feathr user and you've either run monetization campaigns or you're interested in getting started, you obviously have access to these services. So definitely let us know if you want that. But if you would like help with sales, reach out to your account manager, or ask about this if you are interested in this. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a poll. If you are interested in getting a demo, if you're new to Feathr and you're interested in getting a demo of Feathr to kind of see how you can do all of these different ad campaigns we talked about and run sponsored retargeting, or if you are interested in learning about Feathr because you're interested in these monetization or sponsored retargeting campaign management services and kind of having us help you sell this to sponsors, go ahead and drop. I have too many polls in here. Drop a yes, and we will put you in contact with somebody who can walk you through the platform, give you a more personalized demo of what all you can do with Feathr, how you can sell these types of sponsorships to your sponsors and exhibitors, and how you can grow that awareness with new members, um, better engage existing members, get in front of event attendees, past, prospective, and yeah, just do better marketing in all of these different areas of work that you're overworked and often doing on your own or with just one or two other people. So we are here to help you, whatever that might look like. So yeah, anyone who drops a yes in here, we will get in front or we'll get in touch with you with a demo and with a more personalized conversation. And I see lots of people are saying that they're already Feathr users. So we love to see that on here. But yeah, so for those of you who said yes, I'll be in touch with more information. I will be sending out the slide deck and the recording today, so be on the lookout for those if you want to revisit anything. And there will be another opportunity to sign up for a demo in there if you kind of, think through this and you decide that you are interested in learning more. And yeah, and then someone from my team will be in touch with those of you who said yes to kind of talk you through everything and get you some more information. So I really appreciate everyone tuned in today, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.